Doctrine and Covenants 18 was given in June 1829 through Joseph Smith to Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, and to the future quorum of the 12 apostles regarding how to build up the Church of Jesus Christ in their day. Here's the backstory. Back in March 1829, the Lord told Joseph Smith that the beginning of the rising up and the coming forth of my church was soon to occur. This is, in fact, the very first mention of a church in Joseph's revelations, and maybe the first moment it occurred to Joseph that his translation work with the Book of Mormon would directly lead to the establishment of the Lord's church. 2 months later, in May, the Lord spoke again to Joseph of the prospect of establishing his church. It also appears likely that in the latter part of this month, Peter, James, and John appeared to and ordained Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery apostles, and conferred upon them the keys of God's kingdom on earth for this dispensation, which appears to be relevant to the organization of the Lord's church in the near future. The following month, in June 1829, sometime soon after they moved in with the Peter Whitmer family in Fayette, New York, Joseph and Oliver received an important revelation in the chamber or bedroom of Father Whitmer, wherein the voice of God gave them further details concerning the impending organization of the church. Included in this revelation were specific instructions about ordaining one another and others to the office of elder in the church, administering the sacrament, and conferring the Holy Ghost upon previously baptized people. Yet, Joseph said, we were commanded to defer this our ordination until such times as it should be practicable to have our brethren, who had been and who should be baptized, assembled together, when we must have their sanction to our thus proceeding to ordain each other, and have them decide by vote whether they were willing to accept us as spiritual teachers or not. Such a time, it turns out, would not happen until April 6th of the next year. Suffice it to say that in June of 1829, the topic of establishing the Lord's church was squarely on the minds of Joseph and Oliver, as well as David Whitmer. Yet none of them had any experience as to how to go about doing so. As they thought more on the matter, Joseph directed Oliver to prepare a kind of founding document which would outline the basic beliefs and practices of the church, similar to formal documents of other religious institutions of the time. Finding this to be a very difficult and even discouraging task, 22-year-old Oliver asked Joseph to inquire of the Lord for additional guidance on the matter. So, in the presence of both Oliver and David, Joseph approached the Lord for direction on this issue of a founding church document specifically, as well as for any further instructions relative to building up the Church of Christ that the Lord saw fit to offer them. Doctrine and Covenants 18 was the result of this inquiry. So that's the backstory.